So we're in day 4 of Paul's letter to the church in Galatia, and in chapter 4, he's going to pick up right where he left off with chapter 3. I didn't really mention this yesterday, but a big part of this letter is this one big family that's being formed. The ancient Jewish people saw Jesus as a Jewish person, because he was, but they figured that he was fulfilling this Jewish movement, this Jewish religion, which he was, but it wasn't just for them. And that idea was revolutionary to them. It was hard for a lot of them to accept. But Paul's saying, no, like there's no Greek, there's no Jew. Everybody is one in Jesus. This is for everybody. Now, he really, in chapter 4, drives home this idea of being a child of God. And this is huge. This is the thing that Jesus really drove home big time. We do have ancient Jewish records of prayers where Jewish people called God Father. But it was rare and it was formal. So they would use the Hebrew word ab, which was a formal word, like Father, right? When Jesus prayed, and here, Paul, they refer to God as Abba, which is, some people say it's like daddy. I don't know. That might be a little bit too extreme, but it's a way more informal way of referring to God as Father. It communicates a closeness, a sense of intimacy that you don't find with the word Ab. In fact, when Jesus prayed, he called God Father, and John records this, right? The religious teachers considered the way that he referred to God to be blasphemous because it communicated such closeness. And it's because he used this word Abba. So Paul is introducing really inviting us and the people he's writing to see themselves as children who know and are known by their Father that they're close to. Again, it's driving home that idea of not rules, but relationships. He's like, and he brings up the law again. He's like, if you're working for the law, then you're like a slave. Again, don't think American history slavery, think like Roman culture slavery, or even ancient Jewish slavery. It's this idea of you got to do what you got to do because that's your job. He's like, no, it's the doing comes from a relational place. It comes from trust. And he's like, so you're not a slave, you're a son or a daughter. Now, it's important to remember, whenever he uses the word son, if you don't see the word daughter, some translations will include it. But Greek is like Spanish in that if you're including masculine and feminine, you just say the masculine word. So sometimes that comes through in our English translations. You're just seeing sons, but it's really children. Secondly, whenever it's the singular form of the word son, it means there's an emphasis on the one, not that it's male, but on the one that's receiving the inheritance, because the firstborn son in the ancient world really was the one who received an inheritance. So it's this idea of whether you're a boy or a girl, you're being given what a child would inherit. So he goes on and he communicates this closeness with God, and then he gives them another analogy, brings up Abraham again, Abraham and his 2 kids. One kid he had because he didn't believe God, and the other child he had when he did believe God. And in essence, he's like, we are children of a promise, not children of work. And then he points out this little thing. It's like a little, side note. He's like, the children of the law, or what he calls the children of the slave woman, which is a reference to the story of Abraham and Sarah and and Hagar, who's the mother of Ishmael. He's like, the children of the slave woman persecuted the children of the promise. And he's like, that's what's happening right now in Galatia. The people who think they have to work and do all the things are persecuting the people who understand that they trust in God's promise. And that's how life change happens. So there's a lot here. There's a lot of references to the ancient Jewish law, but he's talking to those people who maybe are either Jewish or are very familiar with the Jewish religion and writings, and he's trying to help them see that it's always been trust from the start. So that's chapter 4. There's a lot there. Chapter 5 gets a little bit more practical. See you then.